quite mad. I mean, I don't know where you get your facts from.
Well, for history books, you should try to read one once in a while.
I don't know which history.
Everywhere you go.
For Indians back hundreds of years. You're not writing anything.
Excuse me. The British advanced women's rights in India. The history of women in India is one of oppression. The British banned sutti, the burning of widows on the funeral pyres.
One of the reasons we have open borders, two-tier policing, and allowed the grooming gang scandal for as long as we did is because of this false idea that Britain is uniquely evil and we must atone for all of our past sins. And that's exactly what Rafe Heydel-Mankoo exposes in this debate with Narinder Kaur. Let's watch.
Narinder is, there's steam coming out of her ears.
There really is. I mean, Rafe, you sound quite mad. I mean, I don't know where you get your facts from.
Well, for history books, you should try to read one once in a while.
I don't know which history books you're reading, but they're not correct. Because you're talking about benefits to who? Self-indigenous people and people who were colonised. Actually, I call colonisation genocide. Let's speak facts. Your facts are actually British colonisation, genocide, killed...
Genocide is a very difficult word to...
I'll let you speak. Killed hundreds of millions of people. It's murder. There's a legal liability here. They killed hundreds of millions of people colonising the world. And actually, I don't like this argument, Eamon, that actually it was in the past, because you said that in the break, that actually it's in the past, let it go. The ramifications of colonisation are still felt today. Aboriginal people are still the poorest in health, education. An Aboriginal teenager is more likely to go to prison than university.
I'll tell you what I think.
So her argument thus far is basically Aborigines are not doing so well in some areas, therefore colonialism equals bad. And I'd imagine her lack of curiosity means that she probably won't even explore. Maybe there are some other reasons as to why they might be behind in certain metrics. But very shortly, Ray's going to come and offer her a different perspective to consider.
People who were former slaves, their families are still suffering.
No one is suffering from colonialism. Come on, Narinder. You're spouting nonsense. Firstly, hundreds of millions of people...
Hundreds of millions of people were murdered. Rafe, you don't know your facts, and I feel sorry for you.
Narinder may be saying, everything you said may well be true, but Narinder basically saying it wasn't worth the price that was paid.
Well, it's absolute nonsense. Firstly, there's no... Excuse me, it's now my turn to speak. Thanks so much. Hundreds of millions of people did not die underneath the British Empire.
Yes,
that's complete nonsense. Also, life expectancy for Aborigines for thousands of years had been 40 years of age. You know, they were a Stone Age Paleolithic culture when the British arrived there.
So
they now have life expectancies of 70 years, 30 years longer.
No, that's not correct either.
I'm sorry, I'm giving you the absolute facts here.
Their life expectancy is decades less than white Australians.
And there are many reasons for that, but it's not due to colonialism. Their life expectancy increased by 30 years in 200 years. After tens of thousands of years, it was 40 years. I'm terribly sorry, but you need to go back and do some research.
No, Rafe, you don't know your facts, because actually colonisation or genocide has put Australian South-Indigenous people behind hundreds of years.
Everywhere you go.
Colonisation put Indians back hundreds of years. You're not writing anything.
Excuse me, under the Raj, the British population...
You can't actually say that because Britain made some trains and we did this and we did that. We did great. You did it for your own benefit.
The Indian population...
The only thing that benefited colonisation was British, their pockets. You lined your pockets on the backs of indigenous people.
I will guess that...
Ray's about to make a really important point, because many people like Narinder have this idea that the whole world was just holding hands, singing Kumbaya until the British came and just killed everybody. And after he completely corrects her nonsense, I want to read you a comment from somebody who actually lived in Zimbabwean colonial rule, because it's very eye-opening.
People died at the hands of British government and the British monarchy.
All right, I'm sorry, can I just interject here?
Let me finish now.
Well, you've spoken quite a while.
People died, Eamon. Hundreds of millions of people died.
Okay, how do you respond to that?
Under the Indian Raj, the population of India increased from 170 million to 450
20 million died in the Bengal famine.
The whole cyclical famines of India ended because of British storage techniques and malnutrition projects.
You're actually lying about your facts.
Well, I'd love to have a longer discussion where I can expose the nonsense that you're spouting here. Also, the British advanced women's rights in India. The history of women in India is one of oppression. The British banned sutti, the burning of widows on the funeral pyres. The British stopped the infanticide of girls, and the British allowed Hindu women to remarry.
You killed in 1919. You shot dead.
You wouldn't be here enjoying the lifestyle you are were it not for the Britain's great advances for women. I'm terribly sorry.
Rafe, what you're saying is, because Britain, the great British Empire, we went there and we advanced social justices and all that, therefore I'm lucky. I'm not lucky if my ancestors were murdered at the hands
Your
of
ancestors
British
are also
generals.
my ancestors. We're both
They were
Sikhs,
murdered,
all right? So don't
therefore.
speak as if you have
People were
complete
murdered.
domain
I'm
over
not
this,
lucky.
all right?
I'm not lucky.
You are
Indian
absolutely
people,
lucky.
Aboriginal people are not lucky because of British colonisation. British colonisation was genocide.
I'm saying, as
and
a
it
woman,
needs
as
to
an
be
Indian woman,
acknowledged.
you are lucky because
I'm
of
not
colonisation,
lucky.
because
I'm
your
not
life
lucky.
would not
I
be
live
as...
in a country where I faced racism. I could have been back home, and actually India could have been richer. Thankfully, we are richer now. Thankfully,
India is one of the world's 5 most racist countries. I'm terribly sorry to break it to you.
That's got nothing to do with colonisation.
The irony of conveniently sitting with your makeup and expensive clothes on television in the country that apparently genocided your ancestors, saying that you're not lucky, is very interesting. But here's a comment that was left on the main video that is worth looking at. So this person says, I am a 73-year-old Zimbabwean, and so I have experienced colonialism firsthand. The British pioneers marched into Zimbabwe in 1890. It was a disease-ridden, war-torn, trackless waste with wholesale murder of the Mashona tribes by the Matabele. In 90 years, those of British descent turned it into a virtually first-world country. We had good roads, railways, schools, communications, power grids, hydropower from Kariba Dam, the biggest dam in the world when it was completed, government buildings, hospitals, clinics, honest judicial systems, and a police force in the top 3 in the world. Interestingly, there were almost no emigrants. That's an important point. Remember that. We then faced mandatory sanctions initiated by England and the US, and a civil war initiated and financed by Russia. This led to a Marxist government under Gabriel Mugabe, which turned the country from the breadbasket of Africa to a basket case in 40 years. Now, under the Marxist freedom fighter government, probably a third of the population has fled the country. Form your own conclusions. I have no issue with people looking at some of the evil things that may have been done during colonialism. I have no problem with that. My problem is when people want to act as if the whole world was just one perfect utopia until the British, the uncivilized British, came along. And so because of that, Britain needs to continue to atone for the sins of the past in a way that no other country or no other nation has to do, because Britain's so evil. And every single person's problem around the world somehow comes back to the British. Never mind any of the good things that have come out of Britain. No, we just must continue atoning for the bad. And this is the mentality that justifies everything from complete open borders to the fact that we cannot remove illegal migrants from our country because, we ruined the whole world and we owe it to them to absorb them into our nation and pay for them at taxpayers' expense. And because of Britain's racist history, we can't call out when English people, British people are being racially attacked, like in the grooming gangs cases, or in other cases where migrants, illegal migrants who are called asylum seekers, have done evil things to the British people. When you have asylum seekers who are known to be linked to terror plots in the UK, we can't talk about it and we can't defend ourselves because we must atone for the sins of the past. That's what really angers me, that many people use the excuses of an evil colonial history and this view that Europe and Britain are uniquely evil and the rest of the world for the rest of history was great. That's justification for us to just bend over backwards and not defend ourselves whilst tyrants and evil people walk all over us. And of course, it's always the most privileged and well-off people who come on TV and speak about how unlucky they are to live in a time where they made so much money from technology and from popularity in the country that apparently genocided their ancestors. How flippin' convenient.